Hey, what's up, Jaded? How's it going? We do. Okay, let's get started. Hope everybody's had a good one. I know I could use some whatever nonsense we're going to put in here. That's what I could use. Oh, the night's good. That's good. Here we are on the 4th. Let's see here. What do we have to work with tonight? $57. Oh, cool. Just out of reach. Just out of reach. All right. What are we going to do with that? Just out of reach. Well, we could take it physically. We could take it metaphorically. If we take it literally and physically, then it's something that you just can't quite reach. We could play that off as like a trap, some sort of cool action sequence. Those can be fun. Or something, you know, around a corner, too far down, too far up. Just out of reach. I haven't done a trap in a while. Could also do the metaphor, like can't quite accomplish what we're aiming for. Something just out of reach, just beyond our grasp. Probably the trap. I think probably it's the trap. I think that's the way to go. Let's make some sort of trap. Let's say... All right, I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with. Almost had it. Almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with. Oh, constructs catching up. Platform. Void. Something's on fire. It's the void itself that's on fire. How about ink? Never done a trap that involved ink before. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with probably some sort of noise. Maybe it's singing, chanting. That always goes one way. What doesn't go one way? Some sort of yeah, it would have to be like band music. What's up, Steve Zero? Welcome to the stream. Bright light. In fact, the opposite of the dark void. I like it. I guess the void could be light. What do I know, really? It's not like I've ever seen whatever the void is. Jaded voices, the chamber filled with tangible dread. Tangible, like literally, like you could touch it. How do you make physical dread? It's interesting. All the classics that we're avoiding, right? Filling with water, filling with sand, could fill with arrows, it could fill with spikes. I just had a spike trap last night, actually. It didn't work, but that was sort of on purpose. You could feel it, tangible dread. How about like frigid air? Can we do frigid air? Pretty sure that's A brand. Flammable gas, clay, trees, minotaur soldiers. Hey, Gunsmoke. Cats. Yeah, okay. Let's put cats in there. I don't know how many cats it would take to fill the chamber. Depends on the size of the chamber. Some sort of, I mean, being filled with, we've got minotaur, like undead minotaurs. What's special about all the cats? It's a good question. That's what we'll have to figure out if we roll it, when we roll it. Filled with minotaurs would not take very many minotaurs. But that would be a challenge for sure. I guess we could have done undead cats, but that I don't want my cats to hear me. I feel like they'll take that one out. Filled with acid. Filled with gelatin. How about, so we have ink, music, light, air, cats, the undead. Probably a list like this has never existed before. I was going to say something natural, but we actually have a couple of natural things. Maybe something like a storm. How about maybe playing off the mist idea, like storm clouds, maybe even like lightning or thunder. But I like storm clouds because we can get anything out of that. So let's try that. Vines, horror. What's up, Otter? It's kicking. Filled with rage. Well, we've got the cats, so I think we're good there. Cats are not going to be happy to be wherever this is. Unless the treasure is catnip, but that might just make them angrier. I almost had the treasure. Chamber filled with ink, cheery music, bright light, frigid air, cats, the undead, storm clouds. Way more of the same treasure. I guess you'd call them worthless replicas. Darkness, Van Gogh, the smell of a freshly baked pie. Constellation, 4 turtles and a rat. I think we need something else living. So, a very happy child in a dungeon would be a terrifying thing to experience. So we have, yeah. Ooh, Indiana Jones speaks to me. Let's fill it with snakes. I feel like he would hate that. Sparkling flowers and or mushrooms. Ooh, actually, let's fill the room. Let's fill the room with like if the room, yeah, let's fill it with mushrooms. That's a good one. I almost had the treasure. And the chamber filled with I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with whatever. Lucky me, I knew the trick. I just had to. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with ink, cheery music, bright light. Lucky me, I knew the trick. All I had to do was dance. Close my eyes. Okay. Was wish upon a star. Just had to. My only concern with dance is, so what I want to do is come up with stuff that is completely, doesn't take the other lists, doesn't touch it at all. So since there's music, I want to steer clear of dancing. Attacking, something about wishing, like maybe there's something to recite. How about let's recite the incantation maybe? Or maybe read the, yeah. Pull the lever. Maybe find the safety, find the release. Click my heels together. Follow the inscription. Hey, Wilson. Let's see. Steve, I actually like. I just had to use the bucket. I can tell already that this is going to result in, this is what we're generating are wild stories you hear in the tavern. I can tell already. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with frigid cold air, cats, the undead. Lucky me, I knew the trick. I just had to close my eyes. I just had to recite the incantation, follow the pathway out, use the bucket. I just had to... What else would be the trick? We've got reading, following, using, sort of intuition, but I suppose some wild action. Come back to help myself. Wait for my future self to return. Lots of fun timey-wimey stuff. How about like, how about something like put on the mask, right? Or maybe it's like, yeah. Oh, okay. I like wait. I just had to wait for... Wait for the smoke. Poor Bob. Activate the trap. Sacrifice. What's up, Noel? Punch the goblin. Wait for my tag along NPC. I do like... I just had to... something like follow the goblin. I just had to imitate the goblin. So many ideas. Listen to the ancestors. Finish eating. Follow the visions. Follow the lights. I'm going to say hold my breath, actually. I like that one. Close the door. Open the door. Give the oath. Reject the oath. Crawl out. Find the key. Something I like using or what if we dropped something? It's like, okay, now is it drop the beat, drop the like drop the gem or something, or maybe drop the bottle. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not sure exactly what we've made yet, but I'm excited for it. Roll on it a few times and see. D10 list this time. A lot of possibilities. A 4 and a 2. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled up with cold, frigid air. Lucky me, I knew the trick. I just had to recite the incantation. Lovely. So this is some straight, this is like some straight Legend of Zelda dungeon stuff. Like, okay, it got cold, but that's okay because I had the spell for this. Forget the tunic. We've got a spell to be impervious to, you know, whatever the lower reaches of the dungeon are. My game needs more red and blue tunics. 9, 7. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled up with snakes. Lucky me, I knew the trick. I just had to activate the right lever. Okay. It's no problem. The lever to exit the room is located in the stonework on the floor underneath the 2 feet of snakes. Shouldn't be an issue. Just need to feel around down there. I feel like I could run something like that, not off of defeating or, you know, murdering a horde of snakes. Is it called a horde of snakes? A swarm of snakes? But literally providing a grid and doing checks and like dexterity, constitution to like, okay, I'm going to check over here for the thing. Nope, you don't find it. You get bit. Okay. Like it would have to be like continuously filling, I suppose. It'd have to be treated like an actual trap and not a combat, but blindly feeling around for the escape lever that you know is there. It's very like the garbage trap or the garbage scene in Star Wars. 5 and 1. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled up with cats, arguably worse than snakes. I knew the trick. I just had to close my eyes. Okay. Apparently it's called a den of snakes. The more you know. So, okay. So the reason that the cats came out, this is good. It's this chamber is just playing off of fears, and this person has a ridiculous fear. This would be great too, because again, let's take it back to the tavern and stories being traded back and forth, and some NPCs like got the party's attention. Like, I got to tell you about this place that I just went. I went out of there screaming. I couldn't take it. Opened up, place filled with cats, And the party's like, why were you afraid of that? They're like, oh, I am deathly afraid of cats. I don't even know if they were real. I mean, I think they were. One followed me home, but I'm pretty sure that place is like haunted. Like whatever you're afraid of, that's what comes out to get you there. Because then it's not necessarily even about the cats. I don't know any of them. Never had a player that was afraid of cats. But if you know that like, oh, okay, so our worst fear is going to come out if we try to deal with that particular dungeon. And that'd be a great way to tell the story without spoiling any potential, like, to get them thinking about it. Like, what is their fear? And then hopefully they tell you what it is so you know what to populate the dungeon with. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with the undead. Lucky me, I knew the trick. I just had to drop the gemstone. Okay, cool. This one works pretty well. You know, as the undead guard kind of awaken and come to defend whoever's stealing the treasure, it's like the gemstone. Maybe it's going to turn undead to dust. Like some sort of, it's like it's, I imagine like either acquiring something like this for this particular dungeon trap or saving it. Maybe both, you know, until just the right time. Or like we all experience, which is the player uses something that's like perfect for the situation. It's like, where'd you get that? They're like, you gave that to me. It's like level 3. Shit. I forgot. 5 and 6. How about, yeah, 5 and 6 is 6 and 5. Got to re-roll the 6. 3 and 5. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with bright light. I just had to put on the mask. Bright lights, and I put on the mask. I mean, certainly it could help with seeing. Could help you from being blinded. But it could also be, yeah, it could also be, it's not the light, but perhaps the mask itself allows to see to some sort of the ultraviolet planar tricks that are happening where like the entire place changes. This would be fun, like to play with light and darkness with like 2 dungeons that are like overlaid on top of each other, so that depending on which spectrum you're kind of looking, like you look into the darkness, you see one, you look into the light, you see another. Or it's just sunglasses. That's a good point. What are these magic devices that you just put on my face? Oh, no, can't do. Man, did I use both of those? I can use 4 on the second table. Can't use 5 on the first. I can use 2. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with cheery music. I knew the trick. I just had to use the bucket. I mean, if that's not joining in with a bucket drum solo. I mean, in a pinch, if you've got a fairly non-musical fighter making their way through and they're like, I don't have any instruments, but I found this metal bucket, and so hopefully I can make my way through this silly musical dungeon. 7 and 7 both. 7's good for the first. Man. Keep rolling the same thing. 7, 10, 7, 10, 8. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with storm clouds. I knew the trick. I just had to imitate the goblin. It's awesome. So the like if you were making a goofier dungeon, I imagine somewhere in the dungeon a non-threatening goblin. This is getting a little bit like Lynchian with the imagery, but I think it could be neat. And I imagine a goblin on a, sitting, and drawn in chalk on the wall above him are like rain clouds and, rain and maybe lightning. And as the party comes into the room or is passing the hallway, he stands up on his stool and he starts doing these like repeating motions. You know, he starts acting out this odd dance. Some horrible cursed goblin who has to stay there and do that until someone understands what he's doing. He can't speak. Certainly could be harmed. But then when the storm clouds roll in, they have to put 2 and 2 together that, well, that was the answer. Just do what he did. Be a bit of a stretch, though, but I like it. And can I get the one more? 10. Actually, how many can I even roll on? 1? I can. No, I did 1. What have I not done? I did use the bucket. It's got to be follow the path. Let's make it a 3. Just force it. Just force it. I almost had the treasure when the chamber filled with mushrooms. Lucky me, all I had to do was follow the pathway out. So when I imagine mushrooms filling the place, I imagine the trap triggers and they either are revealed to have always been there, which could be cool, or they grow instantly. Because rapid growth, right, just like rapid aging or anything else, is always kind of like, whoa, what kind of magic is at work here? And following the path out could be about navigating amongst the correct, like there could be patterns on the mushrooms, the designs, or even the effects. That could be kind of interesting too. Maybe coming in, I don't know, that like horrible, quote unquote, random maze design that shows up on the floor in Undertale, you know, just like crazy, all these different, you know, up, down, left, right, all these things. A room like that with like hidden mushrooms, like you feel the floor is like squishy, but you can't see them yet. And then, but like the effects that the different kind of mushrooms have, that is clear. Like you're feeling that before you see them, and then the trap actually reveals them, and you can navigate your way out. I think I'd like doing that either way. Definitely trippy mushrooms, almost by their name, because you could totally trip on them. Waka waka. Good stuff. Thanks for all the ideas. This is great. It's not every day that we get 2 D10 lists out of this. That's you can tell my little box is not designed to hold that many great ideas. So thank you. Cool. Well, I'm gonna craft now. I'm gonna do some foam work, some homework, some home foam work. Yep. So I'm gonna switch gears to that. Because I do believe that I can get this project of mine done. I believe it. It is possible. All right, I think this stream will just redirect on over to the right place. I'm gonna be carving up the sides of these guys here. Just a couple more to get done. And I can start to paint these horrible little platforms. See you guys over there in a minute.